What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, Season 9, Episode 15. You're Not a Kid Anymore, Dorothy. Let's talk about Jasmine. So her segment starts where it ended last week, where she's in the bedroom with Matt and she's on the phone with Gino. And Gino has read his very long email to her because Gino said that he can read to her how he feels better than he can tell her directly. So he reads to her this email about how he feels played, he feels used. He's basically calling her a gold digger and that she was only with him for the money and only with him to get a green card. And he tells her that he's going to report her or that he has reported her to immigration to get her deported because she was committing fraud, that she had no intention of being his wife or staying married to him and living happily ever after with him, that she only married him to get a green card. And he's already reported her to the authorities. So Jasmine is crying. She's hyperventilating. It's this whole huge ordeal for her. And when she gets off the phone with Gino, I thought Matt, who was standing in the background, I thought he was going to come and comfort her because this is your pregnant wife. She's very, very stressed out right now. She's extremely emotional. I thought he was going to sit down and comfort her, but no, Matt went downstairs. I don't know if he had to, if the game was on, or if he had to fix himself a ham sandwich because this particular scene took too damn long and he got hungry. I don't know, but he went downstairs. He did not sit down next to her to comfort her. I don't know what the hell that was about. So then Jasmine calls Michelle, Gino's cousin. And she tells Michelle all the things, the horrible things that Gino told her about the deportation, reporting her as fraud, et cetera, et cetera. And Michelle says, well, just because he says that doesn't mean he's going to do that, which is true, which is very, very true. And even if he does it, it doesn't mean that, it's going to happen. But I thought Michelle would have been as heated up as Jasmine and would have been like, oh my God, I'm going to talk to him right now. How dare he tell you that? But she was very cool, calm, and collected. And she was like, well, Jasmine, just because he says that, it doesn't mean he's going to do it. And I don't think Jasmine expected that reaction. I think Jasmine wanted Michelle to be as heated and fired up as she was. So Michelle says that she understands why Gino is angry, but which I was surprised that she said that because I feel like this whole entire time or this whole season that Michelle has been very much on Jasmine's side and that she doesn't understand why Gino does the things that he does or the way or she doesn't understand why Gino is the way that he is and that she thinks that Gino is a big idiot and he's a player and that what he did to Jasmine was so wrong. So for her to say, well, I understand why he's angry, that for me, it came from left field. I'm surprised because she's always been Team Jasmine. So she says that even though she understands where he's coming from, in her mind, Gino still has not taken accountability for his part in the failure of his marriage. Most of the time, when a marriage goes south, yeah, both parties have contributed to it. Both parties could have acted a little bit better. Both parties could have done something to prevent this, right? To prevent this demise. And yes, Gino has fault, Jasmine has fault as well. Some people think it's equal, some think that one is more wrong than the other. I happen to feel that Jasmine is a little bit more wrong than Gino because I understood why Gino did what he did. Like, denying her intimacy. I kind of understood where he was coming from with that. Nobody else seems to understand, but I understood where he was coming from with that. This woman hits below. It's a whole thing. I don't even want to get into their history of why their marriage went down. But Michelle is saying, I understand where he's coming from. He's just not taking any accountability. Okay, fine. So moving on from that, Jasmine is worried that she'll be sent back to Panama and will have to go through the pregnancy without Matt. Michelle tells her, you can get a lawyer. Michelle's like, go get a lawyer. Get off the phone with me and go talk to a lawyer because I ain't got nothing else for you. And I'm like, why hasn't she already been talking to a lawyer? Like, I don't understand. She moved away from Michigan. She comes to Florida with Matt because he had this job opportunity. And I'm beginning to like, why haven't you already gotten an attorney, Jasmine? You should want this man so far out of your life that you should have filed for divorce yesterday. Okay, because there's a lot at stake. There's a whole lot at stake. Um, it's just because if she's able to get a divorce, that would prove that the marriage was valid. Because if you get married under fraudulent reasons, it's easy for him to prove that there was this marriage should never have taken place because I was deceived. She committed fraud, and so this marriage should just be annulled. It should just, it should be undone like it never happened. But if you get a divorce, it was a valid marriage because now you're going through a valid divorce. So I'm not understanding why Jasmine hasn't already filed for divorce, if for nothing else, to protect her child. Because she's so worried about Gino taking the baby and giving the baby his last name and all this and that, which is what we saw when she went to go talk to an attorney. If you're so worried about it, then hurry up and file for divorce and protect your child and Matt's legal relationship to his daughter. But I want to know who's going to pay for the lawyer. Jasmine thinks that she's going to go to prison. She'll be in prison, pregnant. And I'm like, girl, please relax. Dear God, Jesus, please relax. We don't need all the dramatics. We see the predicament that you're in, but girl, you're laying it on pretty thick, talking about how you're going to end up in prison pregnant. So her and Matt go have some ice cream and they're talking about their upcoming meeting with the lawyer. Jasmine wants to know if so she has like a little notebook and she's writing down the questions that she wants to ask the lawyer so she doesn't forget. And the very first question she wants to ask the lawyer is, will she be deported? And question number 2 is, will she have to pay Gino the $75,000 that he claims she owes him for getting married and for him sending her money to Panama and for him paying for the whole immigration process because he thinks that she was, defrauding him. So he wants his money back. So those are the 2 questions that she wants to ask the lawyer. And Matt is like, how come you don't want to ask about the divorce? Like, how soon can you file for divorce? And Jasmine is like, well, that's not really my priority, Matt. And I'm like, it's not? Being cut loose from this man who you think is so crazy and so awful to you and is ruining your life, it is not a priority to get a divorce from him. You want to know if you have to pay him the $75,000, which we all know you're not going to have to. There's no way a court on earth will grant Gino $75,000 for all the money that he put into Jasmine. This was a real relationship. Um I don't think that she was Jasmine committing fraud? I don't think she was committing fraud. Did she was she motivated to be with Gino? Maybe also because 2 things can be true. She can really want to be with Gino and also really want to come to the United States. And that doesn't make her like a criminal, or it doesn't mean that she's committing fraud because she could still want to be with Gino and still also want to come to the United States. But I personally don't think that Gino can prove that this was fraudulent, that this was a fraudulent marriage. I don't think he can prove that. Everything was documented on this damn show. And if it was fraudulent, it's just that it's going to be really hard for him to prove that her intent was to never stay married to him, that her sole intent was just to come here to get a green card because there was affection between them. And I mean, maybe she wasn't head over heels deeply in love, but there was some type of emotional connection between them. There definitely was that. So Jasmine says that the divorce is not a priority, and Matt wants her divorced, already divorced, before he can introduce her to his mother. And I was like, Matt, you're so young and ignorant. You think it's going to be that quick? There's so much going on here. There's an issue with the baby. There's an issue with her immigration status. There's an issue with the money. There's so much happening right now. There is no way that she's going to be able to get some quickie divorce and everything be nice and pretty, tied up with a cute little bow by the time you introduce her to your mother or before you introduce her to your mom. It's not going to happen, Matt. Matt asks her why the divorce isn't a priority to her. Why isn't it number 1 on her list of questions for the lawyer? Jasmine says it's because she's pregnant and she's tired. That doesn't make any sense to me. What does being pregnant and tired have to do with you asking a question? You're just asking the lawyer about, like if I wanted to file for divorce, what do I have to do? How do I proceed? That's all you're doing. You're just asking a question. He didn't say you have to walk to Michigan and file for divorce. He's just like, hey, why isn't that number one on your list of questions? Matt tells us that he knows he signed up for a complete circus. When it came to the whole open marriage, when Jasmine came to him and said, look, I have an open marriage and I want you to be my boyfriend, he says that when he signed up for all of that, he had no idea that things were going to go so left field, that they have veered so far off course. He never thought that he would end up in this type of predicament. And he's like, what happened to this just being fun? I was going to be this married woman's boyfriend and just, screw her on the side. All of a sudden, I'm having a baby with her and I'm responsible for her and she's living with me full time and I'm taking care of her. Like, yeah, yeah. Maybe you shouldn't sign up to be married women's boyfriends next time around, Matt. So Gino is back in Michigan because he says that. He says, Gino got away scot free. I'm the one dealing with all of these problems now. I'm the one dealing with Jasmine and all of her drama. And I'm like, you thought it was going to be fun? You thought it was going to be a walk in the park dealing with Jasmine? Absolutely not. Gino should pay Matt $75,000 for taking Jasmine off his hands. So Jasmine says everything is in Gino's hands. And I'm like, why, Jasmine? I mean, you come off like you want to be this independent woman and you're all about women empowerment and, not letting these men run all over us, not letting these men use us. But then you're saying that the divorce is in Gino's hands. You left the immigration thing in his hands and you claim that he purposely left your children out of it. Why would you want your enemy to file your divorce? Like, I don't understand that. Why don't you file for the divorce and put down all the things that you want in this divorce? Because when you file your petition, you list all the things that you feel like you're entitled to, right? Marital support, whatever, insurance, whatever money, spousal support, alimony. You list all of that in your divorce, but he's not going to list that for you. He's going to want you to leave this marriage penniless and with absolutely nothing and preferably deported back to Panama. That's what he wants. Why are you giving him the power to file for the divorce, to file the petition? At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter who files first, as long as both of you get a day in court and let the judge make the decision. If y'all can't come up to a peaceful resolution, but take control of your life, Jasmine. Go file for this divorce. Do it yourself. Like, I don't understand why she would say something so asinine. Um, she almost, and then as they're leaving the ice cream parlor, she almost calls Matt Gino. I'm like, girl, it's not cute. It's not cute. It's just not cute. I don't know if you're trying to get him riled up and you want to have these two men like physically fighting over you, fighting for you. I don't understand. But you bringing up Gino, wanting to name your daughter Gina, accidentally calling him Gino instead of Matt. Girl, it's not cute anymore. It's not cute. Get that man out of your mind and worry about moving forward with your life and getting this damn divorce. So they go see the lawyer. She gives her whole entire history to the attorney, how her and Gino started, and he helped her immigrate to the United States, and then they're having issues. He was denying sex, and so she proposed this open marriage. What did she call it? An ethical, non-monogamous relationship or something? And he agreed, and so they chose Matt. And then the lawyer was like, y'all chose Matt? And then Jasmine says, yeah, me and Gino, we both decided that Matt was going to be my boyfriend. I'm like, girl, that it didn't happen like that. You and Gino did not decide that Matt was going to be your boyfriend. You had already been with Matt. You were already in a relationship with Matt. And when you brought up the open marriage to Gino, you told Gino who you chose. You wanted to pretend like you wanted to get his permission. Hey, this is Matt. I want you to talk to him. Tell me what you think of him. And it's okay. Is it okay if he, screws my brains out whenever I feel like it? That's how it really went down. You had already chosen Matt. And you thought you were like giving Gino the common courtesy by giving him an opportunity to put in his 2 cents. But the decision had already been made. Matt was already chose. And Gino had nothing to do with Matt being the one that you chose to be your boyfriend. So she lies to the lawyer about that. And she says that Gino was not part of the selection process. Jasmine asks about deportation. And the lawyer says, well, if he can prove that the marriage was fraudulent, if he can prove, those are the important words. Are you paying attention, Matt and Jasmine? If if Gino can prove that the marriage was fraudulent, then yes, she does face deportation. But I don't think Gina will be able to prove that this woman was just using him for a green card. I don't think he'll be able to prove that. He might come close. He might make the judge, kind of take pause and kind of really think about it and really examine the evidence, but it's not going to be like a slam dunk boom. No, it's not going to be that easy. He can do whatever he can. Their whole entire relationship is documented on an international show where everybody sees Jasmine trying to sleep with them, loving on him, being affectionate with him. Y'all see them having good times together. You see them having bad times together, like a normal relationship. Okay, there's no way that Gino's going to be able to prove that this marriage was fraudulent. He's just saying that because he's angry. He wants to get her riled up. Gino knows that it's not going to be that easy to prove that. So then she asks they talk about the baby, and the lawyer says, well, if you end up getting deported before the baby is born, obviously the baby is not going to be a United States citizen, because the child will not be born here in America. They talk about Gino being a presumed father. And the lawyer was like, yes, because the child was born within the marriage, the law presumes that Gino is the father of the child. That is a presumption, but every presumption can be rebutted. So the rebuttal would be the DNA test. The DNA results would be the rebuttal to the presumption of Gino being the father, because it's going to show that Matt's the father. So once they get the DNA done, then they can go ahead and in the divorce itself, they can actually, if they ever get to that point, in the divorce itself, they can actually determine that Matt is the biological father, that the DNA results is proof of that, and that there is an established legal relationship between Matt and his daughter. And Gino will be adjudicated as not being the father of the child. And they don't have to worry about Gino taking the baby or giving the baby his last name. Yeah, okay, so the marriage to Gino. Okay, the lawyer says that the first step, okay, I don't know if they were paying attention to this part. The lawyer tells them the first thing before you do anything else, before you worry about deportation, before you worry about the $75,000, the first thing that you need to do is to get a divorce from your husband. End the marriage to Gino. The lawyer tells them that. I don't know if they're paying attention. They go back home. Jasmine asks if she gets deported, will Matt bring her back? Of course, he's going to try to bring her back. I'm assuming he's going to try to bring her back. He said that you're my family now, and I'll do anything for my family. Now, I would have preferred for him to say, of course, Jasmine, I'm going to bring you back to the United States. I'm going to work damn hard. I'm going to get an immigration attorney. I'm going to get a divorce attorney. I'm going to do all that I can possibly do to bring you back to the United States. I was hoping that he would say that. But he says, which it wasn't bad, he's still going to fight for her. But instead, he says, well, you're my family, and where I come from, you always fight for your family. They're worried about Gino taking the kid. Gino is not trying to take their child and raise their child. That's ridiculous. Matt said that he's going to fight like hell for Jasmine and his daughter. Well, you ain't got no choice, Matt. You don't have a choice. You love your mama. You don't have a choice. So, yeah, you have to fight for her. Let's move on to Darcy and Georgie. So Darcy and Georgie, they're at home and they're talking about their problems. Up until this point, I really don't know exactly what their issue is, other than, I don't know, Georgie being like I don't know, him hiding his money and not keeping her up to date when he gets promotions or something. So they're in the kitchen, they're making dinner, and I'm looking at their house and I'm like, wow, this house is basic. This apartment is basic as hell. Like, what the hell is going on? Darcy is a reality TV, whether you want to admit it or not, Darcy is a reality TV star. Okay. She is a reality TV star. She's been in the game for a very long time. This is the third guy that I've seen her with. I don't know how many others that she's been with that I haven't watched. I remember when she was with Jesse and then Tom, and now she's with Georgie. If there's been others, I haven't been witness to that. She's a reality TV star. Okay, they're pretty well known and they live in a very basic apartment. I don't know if it's because the cost, and I do know that the cost of living in Miami is extremely high, but I didn't expect it to be this basic, especially since whenever they go out, they are name brand out. They are name brand from head to toe. Okay, so Maybe Georgie was right when he said all your money goes to clothes and nothing else. Clothes and plastic surgery and nothing else. Y'all don't care about cars. Y'all don't care about where y'all live. Y'all just want the skin to be as tight as possible and the clothes to be name brand. So in her interview, in the little area, when they're showing their little interview or their confessional, she is has on this, I don't know, this outfit, and her boobs are so packed and smushed and squoze. I'm like, girl, let your breasts breathe. I mean, she spent a lot of money on them, but she got them so squished and scrunched and pushed, and it's just, it looks so uncomfortable. Anyways, moving on. So they're talking about their fake issues in their marriage. And I say that because I don't know how often, but it could be daily or nightly. Her and Georgie are on TikTok Live begging for galaxies and gifts and whatever else together. So this whole thing about our marriages in crisis, I think is just probably a foundation for them being on the last resort. Darcy and Stacy have been invited to present their fashion at New York Fashion Week, and they're also going to be walking the runway, I believe. So on their way to New York, Darcy and Georgie stopped by Connecticut to see Darcy's family, her father and her two daughters. And on their way there, Darcy is like furred out. Okay, she's got on like this Fendi, I think it was Fendi, was it Fendi or Louis Vuitton fur coat? I mean, she is really cosplaying a rich woman, but then she lives in the most basic looking apartment I've ever seen, which is fine. If you live in a basic apartment, that's fine. But it don't make no sense to me that you live in a basic apartment, but you're Fendi'd out, you're Louis Vuitton out, you're Gucci Prada out. That doesn't make any sense to me. So, blah blah blah. So we see her father, we see her daughters, and her daughters are really quick to spill the tea on Georgie. They talk about how over the holidays, their mom came to spend time with them without Georgie because Georgie said that he was busy working, and her daughters were like, nobody's too busy to take time off of work to spend with family over the holidays. So yeah, the girls didn't play around. They got to the nitty gritty real quick. So they're all in the kitchen together, and Darcy and Georgie are telling them about their trip to Bulgaria. They lie and say that it went really well and that Georgie's family really loved Darcy. They didn't really talk about what really went down. Then Darcy brings up the real reason why she's there, which is she can't afford Miami. She can't afford Miami. She's too broke to afford living in Miami. So she wants to come back home. And her dad is like, home where? And Darcy's like, here in this house with you. And the dad was like, hell no, that's not going to happen. You are not going to come back here with your husband, because when you come back here with your husband, guess what? Stacy will come back here with Florian, and I'm not having that. He says, whatever Darcy does, Stacy does. Whatever Stacy does, Darcy does. And he's like, no, we're not going to do that. And I was like, go, dad. Go, dad, for putting your damn foot down and not sugarcoating it. He was like, that's not going to happen. He's like, y'all are grown. Darcy, you're 50 years old. What are you talking about? You're coming back home. You're 50 years old. You're a reality TV star. And on top of that, you have your own businesses. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is happening? Why are you living in a basic apartment that you can't even afford that? And now you're trying to come back home and live with your daddy? Like, what are you doing, Darcy? So her dad was like, no, that's not happening. Squashed all of that. He pumped the brakes on that. He was like, no, think again, go back to the drawing board, come up with another plan that's got nothing to do with me. And yeah, the dad was right. Y'all are grown. Y'all need to figure this out on your own. Darcy, you have grown children. Okay, you've been around the block more than a couple of times. Please figure it out. Which is so funny that it's like this with them. Like, and then why in the world would Stacy want to come? If Stacy is good, because Stacy likes to prove that her relationship with Florian is so much better than Darcy's relationship with Georgie, because these sisters are in competition with one another on who has the better marriage. Why the hell would Stacy want to come and live with them? If her everything with her and Florian is Gucci, it's gold, it's wonderful. Like, I don't understand. So, Georgie pretended like he had no idea that Darcy was going to bring this up. And I'm like, you're not helping her. You claim that she's wasting her money on clothes. Why are you surprised that she wants to come back home? Her dad specifically says to Darcy, at this point in our lives, me and you need to be separate. So we found out that her dad was recently diagnosed with cancer, so prayers to him. So the dad, before the girls leave, because Stacy and Florian ended up stopping by as well, and before the girls leave, he wants to have a conversation with both of his daughters. And so they're in his office and they're talking, and he wants to know how things are. Darcy and Stacy begin complaining about Georgie. Oh, Georgie doesn't help pay the bills, and Georgie this and Georgie that. And the dad got real frustrated because the dad was like, I told you this was going to happen. He's like, I warned you. The dad says, you knew that you were going to. No, this is what the father says. The father says, you knew that you were a sugar mama, so play your role. I ad libbed that. He didn't say so play your role, but he did like, you knew. I couldn't believe the dad said that. He said, you knew that you were a sugar mama. So I'm not understanding if, and obviously, this is a sugar mama, sugar baby type of situation. Clearly, so, Darcy, why are you upset that he's using his money for himself? You knew what the deal was. You knew exactly what was going on. You were going to be taking care of this man. And you have no right to ask him to contribute anything financially because the deal was you take care of him. And what he does with his money is his business. So he's playing his part. He's living up to his end of the bargain. Live up to yours and take care of him. It doesn't make any sense. Did you think that you were going to get him as a sugar baby and then he was going to like eventually fall head over heels in love with you and want to be the man of the house and take care of you? You thought it was going to work out like that? I don't think so. Dad says that he warned them about this. And if Darcy's a sugar mama, then you know Stacy's a sugar mama as well. And that's why Florian won't go anywhere. When I watched The Last Resort, which is the first time that I got to see Stacy and Florian in, live and living color to see how their relationship was and how their dynamic was, it was so clear to me that these people do not need to be together. They argued constantly, constantly, constantly. And the fact that they are still together now, it really blows my mind. But then when you put it in the perspective of sugar baby, sugar mama, sugar baby, it makes a whole lot of sense. That yes, they're going to put up with each other because they both have ulterior motives. He wants to be with a woman that's going to take care of him, and she wants to be with a young hot dude. So yeah, it all works out. So I was upset though that the dad told Darcy, you need to work it out with your husband. Y'all got to have a conversation. No, she needs to leave. She needs to leave the situation. If she's tired of being a sugar mama and she's complaining about how she has to carry the financial load herself, then leave him because he's just a sugar baby. Let him move on to his next sugar mama, and then you find a man that's going to provide for you and help you and upgrade you and elevate you a little bit, because evidently it's very clear, Darcy, that you want to live a soft life. You want to have a man pamper you, spoil you, give you the beautiful home, let you go shopping, buy as much designer wear as possible. Then get that. Go and get that. So on their way to New York, Stacy says that they did have a conversation with their dad. I think Florian brought it up. Florian is always bringing up mess. Florian was like, so y'all talked to your dad? Like, okay, what went down? What happened? And they say that, well, Stacy said, well, yeah, dad is really concerned about Darcy and Georgie. He's very concerned about, if Georgie is in this for the long haul. And then Stacy had the audacity to say, yeah, my dad's not worried about me and Florian because we've had counseling. You're talking about that fake, phony stuff that went on in The Last Resort? Girl, that wasn't counseling. That was a TV show. That wasn't counseling. That was a television show. Girl, stop. Y'all need counseling. Y'all need real counseling away from the cameras, away from producers, away from um boom mics and all the other stuff that goes with production. Y'all need to be in a real counselor's office and discuss y'all's issues. That was not counseling. So Georgie feels like Darcy threw him under the bus because he says in his confessional that, hey, I know that Darcy just talked a lot of crap about me to her dad, and that she's not trying to really get help for us. what she should do. She should go to her father and be like, hey, these are the issues that me and Georgia are having. We need advice, instead of, oh, Georgia doesn't do this and Georgia doesn't do that and Georgia doesn't pay for this and he hides this money and he wants to buy an apartment in Bulgaria. He doesn't tell me about it. He doesn't tell me anything. So he was like, I know what kind of time she's on. She's trying to throw me under the bus, make me look really bad, but she doesn't talk about how she contributes to our issues. She's innocent. She doesn't do anything wrong. She's perfect, and I'm the bad guy. So in the car, uh, they were like hot on Georgie, hot on him, and both Stacy and Darcy were like, "Yeah, don't waste our good years." And Georgie comes back with, "Yeah, don't waste my good years." And that pissed them off. And so Stacy was like, "So what does that mean? You have another plan? Because if you have something else going on, you need to let us know what it is." As if he's going to tell y'all. Moving on to the Florida crew. Y'all, Jovi is still fighting for his life, okay? After that flippant comment he made about how Yara looked so different before surgery than she does now. That of all the people in their little group that has changed and has transformed a lot from their younger years until now, no one has made such a dramatic change as Yara. And Yara just spiraled, and she's still spiraling. So they were all in the hot tub, right? All three couples were in the hot tub. The topic came up about what Jovi said. And, Yara started getting emotional again, getting upset again. And so she got up and she left the hot tub. So he's trying to tell the group, like, y'all, I never said she was ugly. I didn't mean to make her feel bad. I was just, trying to let y'all know that she has made a very dramatic change from the way she used to look. And she's so beautiful now. And ain't nobody trying to hear that. None of these people were trying to hear that. So they're like, just go talk to your damn wife. Just shut up about it because we really don't care. Go talk to your damn wife about it. So he gets up. He apologizes again to Yara. He apologized again and again and again. Okay. I'm sorry, Yara. I didn't mean to say that, Yara. And she's still like, well, what if it was you? What if I took your most painful moment in your life and just threw it in your face in front of everybody? What if I kept doing that? And what if you did? The man's apologizing. Okay. He's already saying sorry. Like, what else do you want? Do you want him to draw blood? Do you want him to die? What do you want him to do? Like, I don't understand, like, where we're going with this. He never said that she was ugly or that she used to be ugly. He never said that because it's not true. She was never ugly. He just said that she's made the most dramatic change with all of her. He didn't say this part. This is just what I'm ad-libbing. With all of her plastic surgery, she's had the most dramatic change. So I guess she's still very sensitive that she's had work done. I don't know, but I feel like she's still like dealing with self-confidence issues, even though she's been in counseling forever. So they rejoin the group. This time when they come back, Yara doesn't remove her robe because she's really not feeling even being back there. Yara said that she doesn't want to talk about it. She tells them, look, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's talk about something else. And then Andre brings it up, saying that Jovi, you do say some really stupid things. I'm like, well, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? Like, Andre, how dare you? How dare you tell somebody else that they say some really stupid things when everything that comes out of your mouth practically is stupid? So this whole group dynamic, as I was watching them, especially after Yara and Jovi came back, this whole entire dynamic is just wrong. These people are not meant to be friends. Nobody here likes each other. This group here, it's no bueno. It's not good. It was so awkward and very uncomfortable to watch, and they have no business being friends. So the trip has been really whack, completely whack so far. So they all go back to their room, and Andre is telling Elizabeth while they're back in their room, he tells her that the only way that Jovi got someone like Yara, because he says that Yara is so completely out of his league. And he says that the only way that he got Yara was because he has money. Yeah. Like, you're just figuring that out, Andre. You're just now figuring that out. It's quite obvious that Yara has no interest in Jovi other than his bank account. So Elizabeth tries to save face and say, oh, very cute couple, leave them alone. Everyone thinks that Jovi is insecure about himself and that's why he throws these digs at Yara. I don't know. I can't really remember. I'm not aware of any digs he threw at her other than what he said when they were playing Truth or Dare. But he lives with her. Okay, he lives with Yara. And I know Yara puts him through hell. I know that Yara puts him through hell because Yara is a complainer and Yara is never happy. She's never satisfied. And he probably throws digs at her because he's probably frustrated with her. I don't think their marriage is as copacetic as they want us to think that it is. I think that Yara herself is still insecure about her looks. For her to be this unraveled because her husband said that you made a drastic change from when the way you used to look when you were younger, and then just it ruins the whole entire trip for her. She still is dealing with this. Even though she's mad at Jovi, I think a lot of her emotion is really coming from how she really feels about herself. And then she brings up, well, this is the reason why I don't want to move back to Louisiana. What? Like, huh? What does moving back to Louisiana have to do with what he said when y'all were playing Truth or Dare? Because if you move back to Louisiana, like if you don't move back to Louisiana, you're still stuck with Jovi. You're still stuck with the person that said what he said that hurt your feelings. Whether you live in Louisiana or Miami, like I didn't understand the correlation between this particular argument and then moving back to Louisiana. The girls go shopping, and Yara talks about how shopping is better than being intimate with her husband. And I was just like, that's saying a lot. That right there is saying quite a bit. It really shows the dynamic of their marriage, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. It really doesn't look good because you're not always going to be able to shop like this. Jovi might lose his job or something. So what are you going to do then? I mean, she's really giving gold digger vibes. I don't understand. She's really truly, and she's not even ashamed of it. She's not even ashamed. Yeah, I don't want to sleep with him. I just want his money. I just want to go shopping. That's the only thing that makes me feel good is spending his money. The other women couldn't relate. Elizabeth and Lauren looked at her like, really? Because their marriages are fine. Their marriages are fine. They don't have intimacy issues with their husbands. They are very, very satisfied with their husbands. They're satisfied with what's going on in the bedroom. So they could not relate. And I think Yara thought that they were gonna like agree with her and be like, yes, girl, we don't want these men touching us. We just want their money. And when she didn't get that response, she was kind of like, oh, I guess, oh, okay. Yeah, be uncomfortable, Yara. Be very, very uncomfortable because what you're saying is very sad. It's very sad. And then she bullies Lauren into agreeing that it's better to have a Rolex than to have sex with your husband. And I'm just looking at Yara like, wow, Yara, you're wasting your good years. If this is what it's all about for you, is shopping and material things, and of course Joey's gonna put up with it because he's got this beautiful woman as his wife. He's gonna put up with it. It ain't nothing to him. But Yara, this is what it boils down. Like, what if this man loses his job? I don't know. And she's really showing that she's not attracted to Jovi. She's not attracted to him at all. The girls all go to lunch and they talk about Elizabeth and Lauren's beef. I think Yara brought it up. She was like, oh, we came on this trip and I don't know what she said, but she was trying to, I guess, kind of gauge how are they? Have things gotten better since we've been out here? Are they still the same? And Lauren says that she cares about Elizabeth. Elizabeth said, well, I care about you too, Lauren. If you only knew how much I really cared about you. And then Lauren says, but it can never be like the way it was because I just don't have trust anymore. And Elizabeth was like, what do you mean? You don't have trust anymore. What exactly do you not trust about me? I'm like, okay, we're going to play this game, Elizabeth. We're going to play this game. You're wasting our time. Or you can't be this stupid, so you're wasting our time. So Lauren tells her, I know that Andre did not go back and read 2 years worth of text messages because this happened 2 years ago when she talked about her issues with her body image and Alexi not being understanding with what she was going through. And she was like, I'm not going to believe that Andre read through 2 years worth of text messages. And Elizabeth's like, that's exactly what he did. She doesn't want to take any accountability. Elizabeth, nobody believes you. It's very natural and normal for husbands and wives to share text messages, to be like, oh my God, look what my friend just wrote me. That's normal. It's okay. But your husband was a bonehead for blabbering it out, for admitting that that's what you did. That's the issue. The issue was Andre. Okay, you showing your husband, because I know Lauren for sure shows Alex text messages between her and her girlfriends. I know that she does that. That's not there's nothing wrong with that. And Lauren, don't make it a big deal that she did that. But the bonehead here is Andre for revealing that and using that to try to hurt to try to hurt Lauren, using it to weaponize against Lauren and Alexi because he's stupid. He doesn't know any better. That's the issue. And because Elizabeth is not going to call Andre out on it, he thinks he did nothing wrong. He's bobsledding with the boys, having a grand old time, while the women are going through this tension. And the culprit is Andre for blabbing it out, saying that Elizabeth showed him the text messages. So after Lauren says, I don't believe that Andre was reading your phone or going through your phone. I know that you showed him the text messages. And Elizabeth is still acting obtuse. Then Elizabeth says, why don't you take it up with him? Just take it up with him. Go talk to him about it. Leave me out of it. And yeah, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Like, Elizabeth, you know how crazy your husband is. You know how unhinged he is. And you're telling Lauren to go talk to him like he's going to admit that he was wrong and apologize. You know that's not going to happen. You're basically leading a lamb to a wolf and you think it's cute. You think it's funny. Yeah, go talk to Andre about it. Leave me out of it. She's still not taking any accountability at all. And Lauren, you're doing a good thing by breaking off your relationship with her. Let's talk about Brandon and Julia. The parents come over. Betty says, I come bearing gifts, and she brings a bottle of wine, but she's also holding a cup. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Brandon and Julia have cups and glasses in their home. So why are you bringing your own cup if there's nothing in it? I remember how I said that, I've heard these rumors going around that maybe Betty has a drinking problem because every time she does a scene, there's a cup in her hand. So here we go. She brings a bottle of wine, but there's already a cup in her hand, which I'm pretty sure there's probably liquid in it as well. Brandon tells them that they're going to be going to Europe, and the parents were surprised. They're like, really? And they were trying to understand, how is this going to happen with you just coming back from vacation and you have to get back to work? So then Brandon tells them that he quit his job and you could have knocked them over. They were beyond shocked. They couldn't believe it. So Julia says, so the father was like, okay, how are you going to pay for this? And then Brandon says, well, she's going to sell her apartment back in Russia, but she hasn't sold it yet, right? Oh no, she hasn't sold it yet. So y'all are banking on her selling this apartment to pay for, basically to support yourselves on this apartment money. And I'm pretty sure they have savings as well. I'm assuming they do. But y'all don't know if she's gonna be able to sell it or not, or if she's gonna be able to get the amount that she wants. So aren't you putting the cart before the horse? Oh no, we've already got it planned out. And Brandon tells his parents, look, don't worry about it. I've thought about it. I have a plan. I figured everything out. And the parents are like, yeah, we don't believe you. So the parents are like, this is stupid. How could y'all do this? Doesn't make any sense. And they asked them, when are y'all leaving? And they said in a couple of days. And Brandon says that he wouldn't do this if he didn't have a plan already. And then Julia tells them, back off. This is my family. Me and Brandon are family. So y'all need to back off. And the parents said, but we're all family. Okay, we're all family. So what y'all do does concern us. The dad tells Julia that she's putting a wedge between Brandon and them. That's going a little bit too far. She's not putting a wedge between. There's no way that Brandon will ever not deal with his parents. Okay. He's the only child between the two of them. They've coddled him so much and they're continuing to coddle him. There's no way that Brandon will ever leave his parents alone or go no contact with his parents. That's never going to happen. So they're like, well, we don't even know who he is. You've completely changed him. You're brainwashing our son. You're putting a wedge between us and him. And I'm like, y'all, just leave them alone. Mom, dad, leave them the hell alone. Let them do whatever the hell they want to do because they're married now. Brandon left his parents to be with Julia. So let them do whatever the hell they want to do. If they crash and burn, they're going to crash and burn and they won't do this again. Okay? They won't make the same mistake twice. Okay? So Brandon feels like, so the parents end up leaving, right? They're so upset. They're so frustrated that they just walk out. Brandon feels like he lost his parents. You didn't lose your parents. They're going to be back in the morning for breakfast. Okay. They're probably going to make their way into the house without knocking, just come right on in with their key and start making breakfast for y'all. You did not lose your parents, Brandon. Okay. You're choosing Julia over them in this moment right now, as you should, because that's your wife. It might be a horrible idea for them to go to Europe and him quitting his job, but this is what his wife wanted. He's got to go with it. He has to do, he's got to try to make it good with his wife. He has to do that because there's a reason why he left his parents to go marry Julia. Okay. You can't live your life trying to make your parents happy and then your wife is left unhappy. I don't know if it's a good or a bad idea for them to do this. I don't know. I don't even think that's the issue. The issue here is he has to take a stand and choose. This European trip is him making the choice between his parents and his wife, between him being a boy and being a damn man and a husband to Julia. And that's that, y'all. I've got nothing else to say. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it on your way out. Please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later.